Welcome to Daniel Reviews. I'm Daniel Goodwin, and today we are looking at the ACTBOT, or ACTBOT, ACTBOT 2-in-1 laser tape measure. Let's get into it. One of the tools I use most often is a tape measure, the humble tape measure. It is obviously something that you use around the house all the time, and I can never have enough good tape measures around. I'm always looking for one, and you know, it seems like some of them walk off on their own. So having a good tape measure is obviously very beneficial, but also having the ability to use a laser distance finder in the same tool is exceptionally helpful when I'm trying to do larger dimensions like rooms, or, you know, the hard to measure ones where I don't have to bend the tape. I hate doing that. I hate doing that to tape measure. So a integrated laser rangefinder is fantastic for that. Here's what you get in the box. It's pretty self-explanatory. You've got a user manual. You've got a charging cable, which is USB-C, which is fantastic. The standard for pretty much everything at this point. And then, of course, the tape measure itself. Let's turn it on and see how it works. Here is the screen right here. You can see that right now is set in feet. We will go through and get some measurements with it. Sorry, I just have to call this out because I was not expecting in the manual to have the Pythagoras indirect measurement drawn out here for us. This is pretty cool. It's got a painter function, so if you're wanting to calculate the, you know, the surface area of the walls that you would be painting, you can do that with this tape measure. Pretty slick. Before I get into the really cool laser part of this, let's start with just the tape part of the tape measure. This is pretty decent width tape measure. I wouldn't say it's the fattest or the most strongest tape I've used, but it's pretty good. And it's got the automatic, as you pull it out, it goes ahead and seals it so that it doesn't just retract on you, and you do have to press this part to let it in. It has a fairly strong spring to retract, but probably won't smack your fingers too hard if you need it. But it does extend out, and of course it does have the magnets on the side so that it can sorry, I just had to double check that. It has the magnet so that it would stick to a metal surface if you were measuring off of one of those. If you're wondering the distance, it does say on here it's a 16-foot tape measure, so it is not a 25-foot if you're wondering. It is a 16-foot, which personally I don't think is a problem, because if you're needing to measure 25 feet, use the laser function. Now, for comparison's sake, I thought I'd bring out my Lexivon tape measure that I reviewed, gosh, feels like 2 years ago. But I've used almost every day since then. Love it. It's fantastic. I want to put the ACTBOT tape measure up to comparison on this one. Just first off, I'll show on the screens a couple things. One, this one has kind of the old school, if you don't have the backlight on, kind of the old school calculator kind of screen, which I suspect will result in longer battery life overall if you're using that. But also it's just very readable, whereas in this one, of course, is very readable, but it's like this black and white kind of look, and it's a little, sometimes I don't know, it's not that it's hard to read, it's just different. I feel like this is just a little bit more legible. Also, you can tell that the screen is just a hair bigger on the ACTBOT. Otherwise, very, very close. The other thing is, of course, when you light it up, of course, you can see it's doing, you know, a brighter image there. A few things I love about this is that you can choose different ways of displaying your measurements. So, for example, I mean, not just between metric and imperial, but if you go hold it. You can change it to like 1.78 feet, which can be very useful if you're doing large areas. Obviously, you can get into the meters. I'm not doing that. But you can also get into inches, which is useful. And the one I think I like the most is kind of a combination of inches and what do I want to say, fractional inches. But this one is the one I would probably use the most. I like it. It's a combination of both the feet and inches, and then you have your fractional on the end. So this is the setting I like the most myself. Beyond that, you can choose whether the laser is from the front of the front of this, where it measures the distance from there to there, or whether it measures to the back, which is very, very useful when you're trying to measure in confined spaces. Right now it's measuring to the back, and that's the way I like it. Like if you're measuring inside a cabinet or something where you're going to have to butt up against a wall, you want to measure that whole distance. Okay, for comparison's sake, we're going to take a couple of dimensions. This is measuring the width of a doorway in my basement, and we're going to just measure the overall width. First with the Lexivon, and then with the ACTBOT. I got to remember to turn this one on backwards, because I do think that's not what I'm used to. Well, the good thing is they both come up with the same answer. That the opening is 2 feet 7 inches and 11/16, so dead on. Here I have the two tape measures together just to show you the tape. The width are almost exactly the same. In fact, they are exactly the same. However, how they've broken down the measurements is a good bit different. This one is, I would say, more inches focused, obviously, whereas in this one also has, of course, the centimeters on it, which can be pretty useful, and it's kind of got the more traditional yellow tape, which is what a lot of us are used to, although the gray and black is really coming along. As far as weight, measure the Lexivon first. Comes in at 0.683 pounds. Put on the 6.6, so very, very close, slightly lighter with the ACTBOT. Okay, a couple things I've noticed just in practical use around the house is that I'm still not used to the laser being on the back side of the tape measure. So the tape measure opens this way, laser shoots out this way. Remembering to flip it around, it's just it's not what I'm used to. I would have expected it to be here on the front side, but that's actually where the charging port is, right here for the USB-C. Not a deal breaker by any means, just not what I was used to. I think it would probably be better if it shot out the front like the tape measure, so you always keep it in the same direction. Love the release. This button is kind of oversized. It's really good and smooth and easy to do, and it's not hard to release the tape. So love that. I love that it's rechargeable. It's kind of nice. I can see it both ways. If you had, you know, AA's, AAA's, or whatever, easy just pop some new ones in there and move on. But the rechargeable is probably going to last longer than those batteries, and it's nice to never have to worry about opening it up and taking those out. So it's a mixed bag on that one. Last thing is this included strap, which is useful, kind of, but honestly, it actually gets in the way a lot. And that is because it flops over on the backside, which is exactly where the laser is. And it kind of, typically, you can see it just kind of flops right over where the laser would normally fire out. So a couple times I've definitely gotten it in the way when I'm trying to take a laser measurement, and then I have to flap it out of the way. So not a big deal by any means. You can certainly remove this. And in fact, I probably will, because I don't know that the strap is that useful to me, and it gets in the way. Okay, I think that's going to wrap up my review on the ACTBOT tape measurer. Bottom line, my thoughts are it's a great tape measurer. It's very decent. It's not like overly beefy tape, but it's very decent as a 16-footer. Certainly one that's worth having in your tool bag. And the bonus of having the laser distance finder is really, really nice when you're taking measurements for, you know, large rooms, or whether you can fit your refrigerator in the opening or whatever, inside of cabinets. The laser distance finder is so helpful over trying to do it with this and bending the tape. It doesn't work super well. And it's better than having a dedicated laser range finder. It's nice to have it all in one. So all in all, the construction's good. The quality's good. There's a couple quirks I didn't like, that the laser is pointing backwards instead of out the front. And the strap gets in the way, but that's easily fixed. Otherwise, yeah, if you don't have a laser range finder and tape measure in your tool bag, get yourself one. Ask for one for Christmas, because it is totally worth it, and it'll save you a lot of time and effort on your projects around the house. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.